fractures.
Thank you, Amit. I should start?
Yes.
Is it audible?
Audible and visible.
Okay. So whenever we come across a patient with injury to the hand, after we have seen these findings, the most important investigation that we do is an X-ray. To get a proper X-ray, we need a proper view, and it is very critical for the diagnosis. And to get a proper view, we need to order a proper view. So with this, let us see. A young patient presents to an emergency in a busy settings with this injury or swelling to the little finger. He is given this treatment where an X-ray of screening is done and a crepe support is applied. The patient has persistent complaints, he reports again, and then a proper view of the finger itself is done. And what we observe is that there is a fracture very clearly visible of the middle phalanx. So thus the fracture becomes apparent and now the treatment can be formulated. So this leads us to the first principle of management of phalangeal fractures, which is that always demand a proper X-ray view of the injured part. Why so? Because there are too many bones which may hide or they may distract. How to position the hand for a proper X-ray is very critical. When we are doing a PA view, we have to keep the hand in this position. We all know that. But for a lateral view, is this appropriate? No. For a lateral view, the fanning of the fingers has to be done. And this is how it appears on the film. Now you can very well see that in this screening, we can see all the phalanges very clearly. Proper isolated views of the fingers may also be required. And for that, index, the middle and the little are kept in this way, whereas for the ring finger, it has to be kept in this fashion. Doing X-ray to check reduction after plaster or surgery is also very important. Once you have reduced, the hand should be placed on the cassette in its plane so that we can visualize the phalanges very clearly. Also, it should be careful localization of the phalanx done in which the injury is present so that we can see where the fracture is. One important part as far as radiology is concerned is to take stress views in cases wherever we find that there is ligamentous instability, although there may not be any obvious fracture. So that gives us the first important point of our do's, and that is to get a proper X-ray view. Why it is so stressed? Because this can be seen by this paper. They found out the missed injuries, and it was seen that the hand fractures are one of the most commonest of them. And the most common reason for these injuries is insufficient radiological evaluation. That is why a proper X-ray view has its importance. After you know the dimensions of the fracture, the second thing we have to do is to plan a treatment. So management of hand fractures can broadly be classified either conservative or operative. And the dilemma is how to choose. In choosing the management, stability about the fracture is a very important element. Whenever in intra-articular fractures, we see a displacement which is less than 1 millimeter, it is usually considered stable. Anything more than 1 millimeter is unstable. Similarly, the fracture pattern has to be observed. If it is a transverse fracture with no or minimal displacement, where the length is maintained, it is usually stable. Or if it is an oblique or spiral fracture which is displaced, length is compromised, it is unstable. It should also be remembered that any transverse fracture with displacement can be unstable, or any oblique or spiral fracture with minimal or no displacement can be stable. Other point to note is the rotational stability. If there is rotational instability, then the fracture is unstable. With this, we can formulate a very basic principle, and that is any fracture that is unstable, even after reduction, will require surgery. And anything that is stable can easily be conserved as far as hand fractures are concerned. Have a look at this patient. A young male patient comes with a fracture of the proximal phalanx of index finger treated with this slab, and he presents for a second opinion. Is this management adequate? Second case, another patient with an injury to the proximal phalanx presented with this plaster. So what's wrong in these? They are missing the basic principles of splinting. We can see that the MP joints are extended and the IP joints are flexed, although the plaster looks like a cock-up. That comes to the second principle, and that is what is the position of safe immobilization. So whenever we are trying to conserve the fractures, we have to immobilize them in a safe position, where the wrist is extended, the MP joints are kept flexed to 90 degrees, PIP and IP joint are extended. And why it is important? Because in this position, the ligaments are in their maximum stretch position, so they do not contract when you are immobilizing it. Another point to take care of is the web spaces. In these web spaces, you can see maceration occurs if during prolonged immobilization, we do not pad them properly. Let us look at this case. It's a stable fracture of proximal phalanx in a young male patient. It has been conservatively treated and a dorsal extension block cast is being applied. Now, this is a very good cast for treatment of stable proximal phalangeal fractures treatment, where an extension block is given in about 70 degrees of MP flexion. It allows safe extension limit and full flexion. And thus it provides mobility, stability, as well as there is no joint stiffness. There has been a paper also published by our institute on this. So that leads us to the second important principle of phalangeal fracture treatment, which says that whenever a splint is applied for conservative management, it should be in a proper position, allowing good range of motion. And improper splinting will lead to stiffness. Look at this patient, 35-year-old male, sustained this injury and reported for a second opinion. You can see this fracture is an oblique type of an injury. Now, when it was seen, it was strapped in a slab like this. Although it is very clear in the slab itself that there is a rotational element. When the slab was opened, this rotation can be seen. And this leads us to the third basic principle, always attain and maintain reduction. So whenever you see rotation, always check it and then give traction, rotate, reduce and apply a slab, and then recheck on an X-ray whether you have attained what you are desiring for. Now look at this patient. It comes with an injury to the dislocation here and a compound injury with a small wound on the volar side. Initially managed with a K-wire. Everything looks good, but is it acceptable? Yes, it looks to be acceptable, but when the patient reported, it was having this. Here you can see a 2-month presentation, whole tract of the K-wire is now infected. As well as you can see that a joint which was initially dislocated is now totally absorbed. So the basic failure of treatment has occurred here. This leads us to the fourth important principle, and that is whenever in compound injury, divide adequately, fix only the concerned joint, and very important, use sterile K-wires. Here we see a 35-year-old male presents with a fracture to the proximal phalanx. What do we do? It is an unstable type of an injury. There is collapse. The length is not being maintained. So a CRIF is done, fixed with K-wires, and sure enough, a good range of motion is attained. Look at this fracture. Proximal phalanx, although a transverse fracture, but quite an unstable injury. This was managed with a K-wire fixation. The important point to note here is that neither of the joints has been obliterated, or neither of the joint has been fixed. They are all free, and the safe zone for pinning of these K-wires has been used. This case presented to the OPD with this X-ray. There was a comminuted fracture of the middle phalanx. The plate looked very good. Length looks to be maintained. But when we looked at the patient, he was having the whole dorsum tissue loss with the exposure of the implants. So this leads us to the fifth important principle, that is use proper diameter K-wires and always use safe zones. Now this figure here shows the green part in the proximal phalanx, this green part in the middle phalanx. These are the safe zones through which the wires can be inserted. Here, 23-year-old male, door entrapment injury to the distal phalanx. It looks very nauseous type of an injury. When we look at this X-ray, we feel what next? We can put a finger cut. But we went in to operate it. Why? Because you can see that the bone fragment is entrapping the the nail blade. And it was fixed. So that leads us to the sixth important principle. Many minor looking fractures may need surgical intervention, especially at the distal phalangeal level. Why? Because of the presence of the nail bed, which may get entrapped, and the imbalance of the soft tissue around. And very important point is that the distal part of the fingers are very important for prehension. So they have to be pain-free after our treatment. This fracture, proximal phalanx, index finger, young male, it is reducible, but it is unstable. So it is fixed with K-wires close and a good outcome can be attained. But then look at this elderly male with MPX base fracture of the little finger. This is an unstable type of an injury. It was managed conservatively by buddy strapping. And we should remember by this that buddy strapping is not a panacea of treatment in phalangeal fractures. It malunited, became stiff, and led to a poor outcome. So the seventh principle we should understand is knowing where to be conservative and where to be operative. Now look at this young male patient with injury to this thumb. This looks a very small fragment which feels like applying a plaster. But once you do a stress X-ray view, you identify that the joint is unstable. And thus there was displacement of more than 2 millimeters and it was unstable to stress, so the surgery was done. This leads us to the 8th important principle, that is, in surgery may be required if the fracture is associated with instability. So finally, to sum it up, we can say that we should always get a proper X-ray view and a stress view required. For conservative management, proper slab application with repeat observation is very important. For unstable fractures, surgery is to be done. K-wires should be sterile because it's a very common finding that in our routine OTs, sometimes by doing all major cases, in the last they may be handling hand and putting K-wires in small fingers which may be unsterile. Debride adequately and mobilize early to prevent stiffness. Thank you.